because of his deaf and dumb display, remains silent by the strength of his spiritual advancement. Nevertheless, his Brahman Tejas, his Brahman effulgence, was indistinctly visible in his person. So I'll also read text number 6, since that purport was very short. Text number 6. King Rahugana told Jadbharat, "My dear brother, how troublesome this is, my dear brother. You certainly appear very fatigued, because you have carried this palanquin alone without assistance for a long time and for a long distance. Besides that, due to your old age, you have become greatly troubled. My dear friend, I see that you are not very firm, nor very strong and stout. Aren't your fellow carriers cooperating with you?" In this way, the king criticized Jadbharat with sarcastic words. Yet, despite being criticized in this way, Jadbharat had no bodily conception of the situation. He knew he was not the body, for he had attained his spiritual identity. He was neither fat, lean, nor thin, nor had he anything to do with a lump of matter, a combination of the 5 gross and 3 subtle elements. He had nothing to do with the material body and his 2 hands and legs. In other words, he had completely realized his spiritual identity, Aham Brahmasmi. He was therefore unaffected by this sarcastic criticism from the king. Without saying anything, he continued carrying the palanquin as before. Purport. Jadbharat was completely liberated. He did not even care when the dacoits attempted to kill his body. He knew he was certainly not the body. Even if the body were killed, he would not have cared, for he was thoroughly convinced of the proposition found in Bhagavad Gita 2.20, Nahanyate hanyamane shirire. He knew that he could not be killed even if the body were killed. Although he did not protest, Supreme Personality Godhead and his agent could not tolerate the injustice of dacoits. Therefore, he was saved by the mercy of Krishna, and dacoits were killed. In this case, while carrying the palanquin, he also knew that he was not the body. His body was very strong. This body was very strong and stout, in sound condition, and quite competent to carry the palanquin. Due to his being free from the bodily conception, the sarcastic words of the king did not at all affect him. The body is created according to one's karma, and material nature supplies the ingredients for the development of a certain type of body. The soul the body covers is different from the bodily structure. Therefore, anything favorable or mischievous done to the body does not affect the spirit soul. The Vedic injunction, Asango hi asya purusha, the spirit soul is always unaffected by material arrangement. Omar Gyanati Ramdasya Jananjana Sakaya Chakshurimitam Zena Tasmei Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Ruba Kadamayam Danti Sa Badantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yata Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagratatam Saganatam Raghunatham Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savautam Ritana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Laita Shri Vishakam Itam Cha Hare Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagapade Gopisha Gopikanta Tata Kanchana Gaurange Tapcha Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavanishwari Vishabhanu Sudhe Devi Priyamani Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Evacha Patitamam Bhavnevyo Vaishnevyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasade Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So this story, this narration concerning King Rahugana meets Jad Bharat is very instructive and very nice to hear. Maharaj Rahugana was on pilgrimage. He was going to the ashram of Lord Kapila Dev. This is described in the 9th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. When Maharaj Sagar was performing horse sacrifice, he performed 99 horse sacrifices. So he was trying to perform the 100th sacrifice, and Lord Indra became afraid, because Indra's always afraid that someone's going to become more powerful than him and take his post. So Indra kept stealing the horse meant for the sacrifice. So King Sagar sent his sons, 60,000 sons. They went to search for the horse, and they saw the horse standing near Lord Kapila Dev, and they assumed that Lord Kapila Dev had stolen the horse, but that was not the case. And because they had committed an offense, Lord Kapila Dev, their bodies burned up. So this place is still there. It's known as Diamond Harbor. It's in Bengal, near Bengal. And every year they have a festival there, because that's the place where King Bhagirath brought the Ganges to this earthly planet. And then when the Ganges descended, they put the ashes of the King Sagar's 60,000 sons in the Ganges, and they got free from their sinful activities. So this is where Maharaj Rahugana was headed for, and this was in bygone ages, so he had to travel by pelican. And even in Prabhupada's childhood, he said that a woman would never go out of the house alone or without covering her head. Even if she had to go to the neighbor's house, she would either go by carriage or by pelican. And we see at the Rath Yatra festival in Puri every year, they bring the king of Puri on a pelican to the Rath cart to do his duty of sweeping the cart and offering chandan and ghee lamp for before the Rath Yatra procession begins. So this is common practice to travel in this way. But the king was not pleased with Jad Bharat, so Jad Bharat, he spoke to him in a sarcastic way. But we know from previous chapters that Jad Bharat had been Maharaj Bharat, and due to being an unsuccessful yogi, he had to take birth again. So in the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna asked that question to Krishna: what is the position of someone who's an unsuccessful yogi? He says, does he perish like a riven cloud? O my armed Krishna, does not such a man who is bewildered from the path of transcendence fall away from both spiritual and material success and perish like a riven cloud with no position in any sphere? So Krishna says, the unsuccessful yogi, after many, many years of enjoyment on the planet of the pious living entities, is born into a family of righteous people or a family of rich aristocracy. Or if unsuccessful, he takes birth in a family of transcendentalists are surely great in wisdom. Certainly such a birth is rare in this world. Such, on taking a birth, he revives the divine consciousness of previous life and again tries to make further progress in order to achieve complete success, O son of Kunti. So this purport is very nice, describing King Bharat. King Bharat, who took his third birth in the family of a good Brahmana, is an example of good birth for the revival of previous transcendental consciousness. King Bharat was the emperor of the world, and since his time, this planet has been known amongst the demigods as Bharatvarsh. Formerly, it was known as Ishvrita-varsh. The emperor at an early age retired for spiritual perfection, but failed to achieve success. In his next life, he took birth in the family of a good Brahmana that was known as Jad-Bharat. Because he always remained secluded and did not talk to anyone. Later, he was discovered as the greatest transcendentalist by King Rahugana. From his life, it is understood that transcendental endeavors or the practice of yoga never go in vain. By the grace of the Lord, the transcendentalist gets repeated opportunities for complete perfection in Krishna consciousness. So that sums up the basis to this purport, story and purport. So, Jad-Bharat took birth in a Brahmin family. His father tried to train him in so many ways, especially he tried to train him in Brahminical culture. He wants you to wash your hands after evacuating, but Jad-Bharat would just do the opposite. Wash his hands first, try to teach him mantras, try to teach him so many things. But since he did not want to become entangled in the material world, he acted like a dumb man. The same thing, Sukadeva Goswami was in the womb of his mother for 12 years. And he didn't want to come out because he didn't want to get entangled in the material world. But then they had to call Krishna from Dwarka, came there and told him that you can come out of the womb, you won't get entangled. So he came out of the womb after 12 years. This was due to his mystic power. And he went to the forest, and then he heard a verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam. At that time he was a impersonalist, not a Mayavadi, but a Brahmavadi. He was a Brahman realized soul, but he hadn't come to the platform of realizing Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So when he heard a verse from the Bhagavatam, he was inspired to return to his ashram, to his father, Vyasadeva, and hear the stream of Bhagavatam. So in this way, liberated souls may have to appear again in this material world, just like Narada Muni got the darshan of the Lord, but still he was not totally pure, so he had to again take birth again, had to come back in the material world. But these great souls, they know they're not the body. Nahanyate hanyarim hanyamane sharire. Krishna says this in Bhagavad Gita. This is the beginning instruction that Krishna is giving to Arjuna. The fact that we're not this body. For the soul is neither birth nor death, nor having once been, does he ever cease to be. So, Maharaj, or Jabarat, he did not care. You see in the previous chapter, he was captured, after his father had left his body, his brothers engaged him in menial work, standing in the field as a scarecrow, or to guard the field against wild animals. So some dacoits had captured a man, and they were going to decapitate that man, cut off his head, and offer it to Goddess Kali to get some material benediction. So that man ran away, and they found Jabarat in the middle of the night. And because Jabarat was not in the bodily conception of life and was acting like a dull, dumb man, they captured him, brought him before the Goddess Kali, and we're going to cut off his head and offer that to the Goddess Kali. So here it says that Jabarat, he did not care. Even they were going to attempt to kill his body, he was not shaken in any way. He was fearless, Abai. It's like Prabhupada's name, Abai, fearless. So devotees are fearless because they know they're not this body. The body is simply a lump of matter. So the dacoits who attempted to kill Jabarat, but the Goddess Kali, she knew that Jabarat was a great devotee, a great Vaishnava, so she could not tolerate that. So she came out from the deity, and she took the same sword which was meant to kill Jabarat and decapitated all the dacoits. Shri Shri Gaurnitai Krishna Bhavan Radhasham Alika Prasad Ki Jai. Here Prabhupada quotes one verse, Asango hi asyam purusham. The living entity is not really connected with this material world, but due to his tendency to enjoy material senses, he is put into the material condition. So, this is the special mercy. The Lord protects his devotees. He says that in Bhagavad Gita, Namai Bhakta Prayachati. Declare boldly, my devotees never perish. We see life of Prahlad Maharaj. His father also tried to kill him in so many ways, but the Lord protected him also. So the Lord protects the devotee, and in this case he also protected Bharat Maharaj from being killed by the dacoits. So that is the first part of this purport. and Jabbarat was silent. The king made many sarcastic words. He said, "You are very fatigued because you have carried this falcon alone without assistance for a long time. Besides that, due to your old age, you have become troubled. My dear friend, I see you're not very firm, nor very stout and strong. Aren't your fellow carriers cooperating with you?" So, even though he was criticized by the king, he had no bodily conception of life, so he did not protest. He continued carrying the falcon as before. And we know that since he was a great Vaishnava, that when he was carrying the falcon, he was not carried properly because he was avoiding ants. He was seeing that he didn't step on any ants. Because the Vaishnava is always compassionate and very kind to all living entities. Therefore, he doesn't even want to kill an ant. You see in the Sanatana Goswami, Lord Chaitanya told Sanatana Goswami, when he instructed Sanatana Goswami, he said one time that Narada Muni was walking on the path in the forest. And he left the general path and was walking in the forest. And he was seeing that animals were lying half killed in the forest. So then he came upon this hunter. His name was Murari. So he asked him, "My dear sir, why are you half killing animals? Why don't you kill them fully?" He said, "No, my father taught me this, and I like this. I get great pleasure by doing this." So Narada Muni said, "Don't you know there is going to be a karmic reaction? You're going to have to suffer. Those same animals are going to come back, do the same thing to you." So he was ignorant of the fact of the laws of karma, like most people in this world. They don't know that there's equal and opposite reaction. For every action, equal and opposite reaction. Even in the Bible it says an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. So Narada Muni explained to him that what will happen, you'll have to suffer a reaction for half killing these animals. So kindly you just kill them completely. So then the hunter said, well, he said he wanted to surrender to Narada Muni and accept Narada Muni as his guru. So Narada Muni said, okay, you give away all your possessions, take one cloth, you and your wife, take one cloth, construct a hut on the river, worship Tulsi Devi, chant Hare Krishna. So then when Narada Muni went back to see the hunter, from a distance he was coming there, and the hunter was jumping up and down. He was doing something unusual. So when Narada Muni met the hunter, he asked him, what was the problem? Why you didn't offer obeisances? Why were you jumping? He said, well, there were some ants on the road. I didn't want to step on those ants. So this is called Kripa Siddha. By the mercy of Narada Muni, he had been transformed into a great devotee. So this is the case of Jadbharat. He also was a great devotee, therefore he didn't want to step on ants while carrying the falcon. But the king was in a different situation. King means a mode of passion and ignorance. When Lord Chaitanya was in Jagannath Puri, King Prataparuja was a great devotee of the Lord, and he kept requesting the devotees to let him have darshan of the Lord. But the Lord kept refusing, saying, I cannot see a king. King means pound, shilling, pence man, materialistic person, and I'm a sannyasi. So a sannyasi is not proper for a sannyasi to meet the king. So he refused to meet King Prataparuja, even though he was a great devotee. But later on, the arrangements were made where the king actually got the darshan of the Lord. So this is the difference between a devotee and a materialist. Devotees are in the mode of pure goodness, Shuddha Sattva. And Bar Maharaj, or Jai Bharat, had attained the level of prema, and he was no longer identifying in any way with his body. So, due to his ecstasies, he did not care for the sarcastic words of the king, and he was out of the bodily conception of life, I, me, mine. We know there are 10 offenses to chanting the holy name. And the 10th offense is to maintain material attachments even after understanding so many instructions on the subject matter. That means considering myself, I, me, mine, consider myself to be this body, everything that belongs to me is mine. This is a misconception. And when we come in this material world, we come in with nothing. And at the time of death, when we leave this material world, you can't take anything with you. Although people think they have their fallible soldiers, the society, their family members, their bank balance, they think these things will save them at the time of death. Even one gopi said to another gopi that if you have any attachment to society, friendship, or love, then don't go see that boy Govinda, who's playing his flute, standing on the at Vamsivat on the shore of the Yamuna. So his family attachment, all these attachments have to give up these attachments in order to go back to Godhead. Bhagavad Gita says that one who's free from material attachments, false association, done with material lust, with determination, one who gives up, becomes detached. He alone, unbewildered, he can attain the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So detachment is required. Yukta Vairagya. So Lord Chaitanya came to teach Yukta Vairagya, detachment from this material world. Detachment from anything that doesn't foster Krishna consciousness. So the story continues, and finally Maharaj Rahugana understands that Jai Bharat is not an ordinary soul. So then he takes instruction from Jai Bharat. King Rahugana, although he was in the mode of passion and ignorance, he knew that if he offended a Vaishnava, this was a great disaster. He said, even if I'm chopped up by the trident of Lord Shiva, or struck by the lightning bolt of Indra, these things will not disturb me. But the one thing I fear the most is that a Vaishnava, I don't offend a Brahmin or a Vaishnava. So Jai Bharat was the topmost Brahmin. Topmost Brahmin means Vaishnava. Someone may be a Brahmin, but he may not be a Vaishnava. But someone who's a Vaishnava, he's the topmost of all Brahmins. Brahman means one who's self-realized, Brahman realized, and a Vaishnava is the devotee of the Lord, who's always engaged 10% in Krishna consciousness. So, this is the substance of this chapter that Jab Bharat, he did not identify with the body, and the I, me, mine, whatever. There was one philosopher, and his name was Socrates or something, or Plato. They wanted to kill him by giving him poison. He said, first you have to find me, then you can kill me. So he also understood he wasn't his body. So this is some Bunyan, but it's not enough. The impersonalists, they also understand I'm not this body, but that is not sufficient. Ham Brahmasmi. But we also, Sambandhan Gyan must be there, understanding that we have an internal relationship with Krishna. And in this Sambandhan Gyan, we have to accept Lord Chaitanya within our heart. In this way, we can make progress on spiritual life, in spiritual life. First, we have to get the mercy of Lord Nityananda and Lord Chaitanya. We have to get the mercy of the 6 Goswamis. And we have to get the mercy of the Guru Parampara, and we have to get the mercy of a great devotee. In this way, we can remain steady in Krishna consciousness by always keeping in the association of devotees, by persevering with determination, with patience, with tolerance. We know we may not be successful in this life, but still we have to continue with patience. It says that when a man and woman are married, when a marriage takes place, the lady wants a child, but she cannot have a child immediately. It takes 9 months. Sometimes the Prophet says 10 months. So you have to be patient. So also in executing Krishna consciousness, we know that it is also Krishna consciousness is a razor's edge, and it's very, although it's a simple process, simply chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Follow the 4 regular principles. Prabhupada said if disciples could do that for their whole life, they would go back to Godhead. So it seems very simple, but it's sometimes not very easy. There are many obstacles on the path. Anartha is in the heart. So still, we have to be patient and continue with our Krishna consciousness despite so many disturbances, anarthas, so many pitfalls are there. But still, we have to go and be thankful that have the opportunity to live in Vrindavan, which is the most holy place. Vrindavan, Mayapur, Jagannathpur are non-different, but so we have the opportunity to live in Vrindavan and practice Krishna consciousness. We should not misuse this opportunity by hearing Gramya Katha. When Lord Chaitanya met Raghunath Das Goswami, he gave him 3 instructions. Do not wear valuable clothes, do not eat palatable food, and do not hear this Gramya Katha, this village talk. So while we're in Vrindavan or anywhere in the world, we should not unnecessarily want to hear about mundane subject matters. Of course, in our conditioned state, when we hear spiritual matters, we may not be so attentive. But as soon as we hear something mundane world, we immediately perk up. When we hear news about something, some disaster somewhere, or some crime or something happens, something material happens, we perk up. We want to hear this. But we should be more interested in the spiritual life than in material life. Of course, there's no injunction in hearing ordinary news, but we should not hear unnecessarily divert our attention to mundane things, which will impede our progress in spiritual life. So we are fortunate, we have the temple, we have the Archa Vigraha. Krishna is appearing in this form as Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda, Krishna Balaram, Radha Shyamasundar, Lita Shaka. So when we go in front of the deities, we should pray for their mercy, that we can continue Krishna consciousness, and we should offer offer suitable prayers, whatever it may be, so that we can invoke the blessings of the deity. The Lord appears in this form, this deity form, for our benefit, because we don't have spiritual life. Pramanjanat Srita Bhakti Vilochanena Sandhya Ridiva Yogiyanti. Pramanjanat Srita Bhakti Vilochanena. Because our eyes are covered, we don't have prema. The Dham, the holy Dham of Vrindavan is here, but due to Prodha Maya is covers the materialists, so we cannot see the real Vrindavan Dham. Same thing in Mayapur. Mayapur is the mercy Dham, Vrindavan is the sweetness Dham. And in Mayapur, if one understands Mayapur, then one can understand Vrindavan, enter into Raj Leela. So both Dhams are there, both go side by side. But we have, due to our material conditioning, we're still conditioned by the modes of passion and ignorance. And we haven't come to pure goodness, so we're not seeing the real Vrindavan. Chintamani Prakama Shivakopa Viksha. Every step is a dance, every word is a song. In the spiritual world, in Golok Vrindavan, no one speaks on anything unpleasant. There's no suffering there, no disease, no old age, no birth. But in the material world, it's just the opposite. So this is should be our goal, to always be engaged in Krishna consciousness and try to develop our love for Krishna and go back home, back to Godhead in this life. So this is also the last life. Jad Bharat, he knew that this was his last life and that he was not going to take birth again. Although he did have to come back again, he didn't finish the business immediately. He had to take a deer body first, then he had to take birth again in a Brahmin family, but then he was assured of success after this life at Jad Bharat. So now I have to stop there. Does anybody have any questions or comments? Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Gaur Premanande.